Hey there, it's Kathy Howes with Be Creative with Kathy, and in this video I'm going to show you how to put together 2 of the card packets in my 4-card class. So it's the Be My Valentine February 2024 class. You should have got your packet in the mail like this. We're going to make 2 of the cards today. We're going to make this card, not today, in this video, and the other 2 cards will be in the next video. If you stick to the end, there'll be a link right there. You click on the picture and it'll take you to the next video. If it's not there, give me a few minutes. That means I just finished this one and I haven't attached the 2 yet, but I promise it will be there. So let's just go ahead and jump in and get started. We're going to start with this card, which I believe they call the Stadium Wave Fancy Fold card. Now I cased this from Leanne Livingstone, and she cased it from another demonstrator. So all that share, thank you for sharing. Case just means copy and share everything, but this is what we're going to start with. So in your packet you'll have a kit that has black cardstock that looks like this, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we do that, the first thing we need to do is we need to cut out a bunch of bees. So also in your packet you'll have 2 half sheets. That's what these are, half sheets of basic white cardstock. Now, the only reason I didn't give you a full sheet, it was just easier to mail if I cut them in half. And so you should be able to get all of your bees out of 1 half of the sheets. And then when you take those sheets, sheets, that's easy. Here we go. And you cut them down. So I would take a sheet like that and then cut them down like this, right? Just cut in between close enough, and then you punch them out and you'll have a bunch of bees. Looks like this, and I've already done that so you don't have to watch me. But then they're easier to punch if they're like this and you waste less cardstock. So like I said, you should be able to get all your bees. I counted, I believe we need 12, but as you can see here, I got 16 out of that 1 sheet. Okay, then you can also use those scraps like that once you've cut the bees out to punch or stamp some of your antennas, and I'll show you what to do with those too. So we have our bees so far. On that other sheet of paper you can stamp all of your wings, right? And then up here is where you would stamp. Really, I would cut and then stamp for your antennas, but when you stamp your antennas this way and then cut them apart, when you put them into your punch, they goes a lot easier. So if you stamp them like this, so that this angle on the cardstock, and you start at this end and you put it in your punch, and look how fast you can get. Well, now my punch isn't going to cooperate. There we go. But you can get all those little wings punched out. And it won't take too long. Like I said, we need a lot of bumblebees for this class, although I think they're all worth it. This is a really cute. The cards are pretty fancy fold, and I think great ideas. Okay, so here's the last one, but then you can see what I'm talking about. Then here you could even take and stamp some of those little antennas on those little scraps too. But then now we have enough of our little wings like that. And that's how I would stamp and punch those. Now for your antennas, if you're going to stamp them in a row like that, I would suggest you stamp them like this, and then that way when you put them into your punch, it punches just like this. There's no waste up here, and you can just go punch, 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 and you have your little antennas too, unless you decide to use the scrap like this, and then of course you just take and stick them in there, and you can get the same effect with that antenna, right? So I have punched and stamped, or stamped and punched all of those too. So at least you don't have to sit and watch me stamp and punch 100 little bumblebees, wings, and antennas. Okay, so that's what we need there. And like I said, I think I counted 14. It depends if you put your card together like me, like I did, or how. So it depends how many bees you need. Okay, so let's go on. Also in your kit, you have 8 little strips like this that are 1 inch by 8 inches long, and they're scored 3 times. And we're going to take those and we are going to, hang on, I can't seem to pick one up. Thank you. we're going to fold and a W on those score lines. Now I want them nice and flat, so I'm going to use my bone folder and score it, or fold that one that way, and then this one back like this, making sure that the sides line up as you fold them too. And then this one back this way. There we go. Let's see if we have that W. We're going to force it into a W. Whoops, I put this the wrong way. So then you have that W, looks like that this way. And then I'm going to take this last little tiny score line here and fold it back onto itself using my bone folder. And I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue. You need a really strong adhesive right here. So like I said, I'm going to use liquid glue and put it just on that tab right there. A little bit, oop, got a lot there at the end, but a little bit goes a long way. So you can see the glue, maybe you can't see it. And then when you lay this down, see how that tab is underneath? And that way you can make sure, lining up so it's straight on the sides, that it folds flat, like that. And then it looks like that when you're all said and done. Let's do one more so you can, you know, see what I'm talking about. One more time. W, we're gonna fold it up this way. And then we're going to fold it back this way. And I'm using my bone folder, making sure that these sides are lined up. There we go. And then this one back this way. Making sure my sides are lined up. And now we have our W here. And then this little score line down here, I'm going to fold it onto itself on the inside, I guess you would say. Make sure that's nice and folded. A little bit of liquid glue or strong adhesive on here. A little bit of liquid glue goes a long way. And then set it down. Don't worry about if this is lined up here. We just want to make sure that this is folded flat. So then it looks like that. We're not going to see the top up here anyway. Okay? And you need 7 of those. So I've done those in advance. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I forgot to tell you too, on your little bees, when you stamp your bees, don't put the faces on yet, because some bees are going to go this way, some bees are going to go this way, some are up and down. So we'll stamp the faces later. Shoot, I forgot to tell you that. So hopefully your bees look like mine, faceless. Okay. So now we're going to glue these together. So I'm going to take this. Now notice my W fold is at the bottom. That little fold is at the top. And then I'm going to put liquid glue along half of that inch. This is 1 inch, so about a half of an inch here. I'm going to put liquid glue on this side, and this is the left side. And I'm going to hold that down and lay this on here. Lay that one on top, and like I said, I'm going to try to get it straight at the top and the bottom, this way, and it looks about, yep, I did pretty good. So it's about halfway across like that. So that's 2, right? Now we're going to do all 7 like that. And now I sent you 8 because I wasn't quite sure, depending on how you glue them together, but usually I can only fit 7 on there. Making sure they're straight this way, this way. Now you can kind of see if you line these 2 up like this, you can see where you need to glue them together at, like that, okay? So while we're doing that though, we need to have our designer series paper handy. So this piece of designer series paper here, just hang it out, just keep it out there just in case. Let's keep gluing together, because we don't want this piece wider than the designer series paper. So there I'm checking to make sure it's straight here along the middle. And let's keep going. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it'd be nice if it was close. I'm going to try to get it as straight as I can, so when I put it in my card, it's pretty straight. Lining it up this way again. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're almost there. I'm going to stop after 6, and just to compare it with my designer series paper, just in case I miss something and it's getting too wide, but I can kind of tell you it's not. Okay, gluing them all together. So far it looks like that. Now if you put it in here, look on our designer series paper. Yep, look, one more strip of fit there. So let's go one more on this left hand side, 1/2 inch of glue or half of the little strip of cardstock. We're going to set that down and now line them up pretty good, and then check to make sure we don't want it wider than our cardstock. We don't want it to show. There you go. Now it doesn't have to be perfect. Mine's not perfect, but it looks pretty good. It's all together. It fits in the boundary of our cardstock. So now we're good to go. I'm going to set this aside, let that dry really good. Okay, and then we're going to go and bring in that black piece of cardstock. This is our card base. Move all this stuff out of the way. There's 2 score lines on here. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but we need to score, or we need to fold, excuse me, on both of those score lines, making sure that our card lines up on the sides. So there's that one, and this is going to kind of look like a little binding maybe at the top. It's going to give it a little extra room for our mechanism in there. You know, it might have to use your bone folder to get that fold to cooperate. Oh, mine is not cooperating. Small thumbs. There we go. Making sure that lines up on the sides again. Get that second. Oh, brother. That second fold. There we go on that score line. Jeez, that took forever, didn't it? But now, when you look, our card here has like a little space up here. Let me try to get this fold line a little better. There we go. Now it looks like that at the top. See how you have that little extra? That's going to give some room for the card on the inside, and your card should fold or close, excuse me, a little bit nicer. Okay, let me fold on those, or bone fold, get that nice varnish on there. There we go. Okay, now we need all 3 pieces of that designer series paper. So we have 2 like this. These are 4 inches by 5 1/8. Now, if you go to my gallery at these are my stamps .becreativewithkathy.com, I believe it is. I'll put the link in the video. I have all the measurements in my gallery. So if you go in the gallery and look at the cards, you click on it and you can see the measurements in there. But depending on whether you like more red or more of this peach, which is really petal pink to show, you put it this way. I want mine this way. If you want more of the red to show, you put it this way. But I'm going to take this piece of designer series paper first and just tape that down to the front of my card. And I'm really going to try to line it up so it has a nice border on the top and the 2 sides. Oh, before I do that though, make sure that I've cut your paper. I tried to make sure that my cardstock or my designer series paper are the exact same width. So you might want to check that before you put adhesive on there. And then on the front of my card, here at the top, now I have the fold, completely fold, so there's only the 1 fold line showing. The 1 fold showing. I'm going to line it up so see it has a nice border on the sides and the top, and they're the same. And then with a little bit of adhesive on this piece. Now I'm going to fold this on the other line so I can see the bottom. And I'm going to line this up to give it that same border. Whoops, that same border down here. Making sure they're straight at the side. Now we're going to put a little bit of ribbon around those, so if it's not perfect it won't really show, but there, so it's going to look like that. Okay, now speaking of that ribbon, we're going to take the ribbon here. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive just here in the center. It won't show because this white rectangle is going to cover it up, so if I do a little extra, right, it won't hurt anything, it won't be sticky. And I'm going to lay my ribbon right there, and that tape runner is going to hold it in place. Okay, now on the inside, I want to put some tape along here and here and fold my ribbon over, but I want to make sure that it's going to be where my cardstock or this designer series paper is going to cover it up. So I'm going to go in more than just 1/4 of an or 1/8 of an inch. There, I think that might be Good, let's see if that's enough that this ribbon, yep, will stick to it. And the same thing on this side. So let's double check and make sure that still looks good. Yep, that looks pretty good. Now I can put my designer series paper in. Now for my designer series paper, because I have this double score line on the inside, I've cut it 1/8 of an inch shorter than normal. Usually you have 4 by 5 1/4. This is 4 by 5 1/8. So I'm gonna make sure that the bottom, or in this case it would be the top, is gonna be a better border. I'm not gonna worry about where the score lines are. I'm gonna worry more about making sure my card looks good here rather than if it looks good here. Most of this is gonna be covered up anyway. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the bottom piece. I'm gonna worry more about the border down here than I am by those score lines. I hope that makes sense too. But like I said, most of this area up here is going to be covered up with our mechanism, so it's not even going to matter. So now our card base looks like that. And you open it up and you have there. Okay, so let's bring back in our little mechanism, which I keep calling it here. Now we're only going to put glue on this rectangle right here. So here's what it looks like, right? I'm going to put glue on this rectangle right here, and then I'm going to put this edge by that upper score line like this, making sure that I can still close my card and that it fits in between those designer series paper. So I'm gonna lay this where it's in between. Did that make sense? Those designer series paper. My card will still fold shut. Yes. So now I'm gonna just put glue on this piece right here. In fact, I want to scoot it over just a little bit more. Whoop, now it all moved. I can still fold it here. Yeah. Now, since I'm using liquid glue, after I fold it, I'll be able to move it around for just a little while and get it where I want it. But only glue on this last rectangle right here, and then take this, fold it shut, making sure that that's all the way. I'm kind of applying pressure this way and holding it in there and applying it, make sure it's shut, and make sure my ends line up down here so that my card looks good. Apply pressure, drum roll please, and then look, now it's all stuck down right there. Hope you saw that. I know you could go through the video and watch it again. So now we're going to do the other side, so I'm going to open it and lay it all the way this way. I'm only going to put glue on this rectangle down here. And then I'm going to fold this shut, making sure again that the bottom of my card looks good down here. Give that a little bit of pressure, give it some time to do its job. And then when you open the card, are you ready? Now it looks like that. And because we glued it together with the W at the bottom, on the left-hand side, our fan fold will go, or stadium wave fold, whatever, will go from right to left, just like that. Nice. So far, so good, right? Okay, let's put this away. Let's go ahead and decorate the front. So also in your kit are these two rectangles. Oh my goodness. And in your kit, you have, my bad, these two pieces here, a circle and a layering circle, okay? So we're gonna stamp on all of these. Let's put this away. So let's, like I said, start with the front. I'm gonna bring in some balmy blue ink and a blending brush. And I'm gonna ink up my brush. Now, since I have a glass mat here, I'm gonna just tap on my glass mat and clean it with my chamois. But if you need a piece of scratch paper, be sure and have something under there, not like this. So I'm gonna just tap off, get a lot of that ink off here, and then I'm gonna just lightly put just a little bit of color up here at the top. With the glass mat, you can pick that color back up and use it again. But there you go. So just a little bit, gives it a little bit of sky. I don't know why. I think it needs that. That's what it's going to get. And then let me hurry and wipe that ink off my glass mat here. Oh, I got a little bit of glue on there. Oop, get that off too. Okay, there we go. Good as gold. Okay, now I'm going to stamp my greeting down here. Depending on what size stamp you use here, depends whether you'll have 2 flowers there or 1 flower there. I'm going to do my layout just the same. So I'm going to use the stamp set, Days to Remember, and I'm going to use this little happy birthday and this It's Your Day. So I'm going to stamp the It's Your Day first. Let me see if I can find it. It's all ready here. I'll tell you something else I did. For my ink pad, I took a Whisper White ink pad. Now, if you buy a Whisper White ink pad from Stampin' Up, they send you a blank or empty ink pad and a bottle of refill. I took that empty ink pad and I re-inked it with Memento or Tuxedo Black Memento ink. So now I have a full ink pad like this on a foam pad with Memento Black ink, and that's what I'm going to be using. Normally, Memento Black ink looks like, I'm grabbing one here. Normally it looks like this. This is a felt pad. I like the foam pad, so I'm going to use the one that I made myself. And I'm going to tap that. I'm going to practice one time. Where is a piece of scratch paper? Here, hang on. Okay, got my piece of scratch paper here. I'm going to just practice. Yep, looks good. And then I'm going to stamp this down in the center. Let me try to get this straight. In the center of my card. And there we go. Excuse me. While I'm stamping out of that same stamp set, I'm going to grab that happy birthday and do the same thing inside the circle. Now, if you don't have a small stamp set or stamp that fits inside that circle, hold on, let me stamp this really quick. Nice. You can also just stamp your happy birthday here and put a bumblebee in place of this little circle like I did. Let me show you my card on the inside here. I put all bumblebees and I stamped it here. You see that? This time I'm going to stamp it on the circle and exclude one of my bumblebees is actually going to be my happy birthday. But that's a different way. You could do it that way too. Okay. Let me poke out all of these little holes in this circle. I got a couple stragglers. Oh, just one, I guess. Had one straggler. Let me go ahead and layer this right on top of there now that it's had a second to dry. And put this right in the center. Okay, set that aside. So that's ready. Let's stamp a couple little stems on here. I'm going to use Granny Apple Green ink and take those little leaves from the stamp set. One of them, I guess they're stems and leaves. One leans this way and one leans the other way. Although I could turn it over if I took it. In fact, I'll show you. If I take this, I stamped it this way. If I turn it this way, although, nope, the leaves go down. Never mind, that doesn't work. I'm going to go with this one because then my leaf are happy and going up. Ta-da! There we go. And then I'm going to bring in some Sweet Sorbet ink and a couple of flowers from that stamp set. I'm going to bring in this cute little flower here and stamp it here. Oh, and there's a hair on my desk. I guess I'm balding. I don't know which one. That's not good. And then this little flower I'm going to put right here. And there we go. The last thing I want to do with some Memento Black ink on this is I want to put this little trail of the bee. I guess that's what it's called. So I'm going to I set my Memento Black. Oh, here it is. Good Lord. So I'm going to take that, that designer, or the scratch paper, and I'm going to take my little stamp here. Now, when I did mine, depending on where you stamped everything, I'm going to put my little circle and the trail up here, and then my bee will cover most of that. But this is what worked for me, so that's what I'm going to do again, just like that. Okay, then I'm going to just take some dimensionals on the back of this. I like to use 5, 1 on each corner and 1 in the center. And I'm gonna layer these. Oh, and you know what, shoot, I should have went ahead and stamped the inside when I was stamping the front. Doggone it, well. Okay, lay this right there on top of that. Now it's just ready for a bee. So when we do the other bees, I'll do that bee too. Okay, let's go ahead and do the inside here. So I just want to put a little flower. Since I'm going to use this as my greeting, I'm going to just throw a little flower on the side, and I want the one that leans in this way. So I'm going to just stamp him on the edge here, and another one of those little flowers. Would have been faster if I would have done this at the same time, but it didn't take too much extra time. And then just set that right there. How cute that is. Now we're going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back of that, and this is going to go to the inside of our card. Right here on this side. Now, if you were wondering, these 2 rectangles I cut with the radiating stitch dies, radiating stitches. I'm pretty sure that's the name of them. You can see the supply list on my stamp gallery too. Okay, let's go ahead and make some bees and put some bees together. Well, no, first, yeah, let's do the bees first. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3. This is where my circle is going to go here. So 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to get 7 bees ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to get 6 wings. 3, 4, 5, 6, but then I need 2 are going to be double winged guys, or bumblebees. And then of course I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little antennas. Okay, here we go. So then I have all my little faces here mounted in the stamp set. Where'd my stamp set go? Oh, here it is. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 little faces that you could add to your bumblebee, and I think this is the best time to use all 4 of those little faces. Let's see what here's the 4th one. So I think on the bottom I want to put my grumpy, I'm going to call him a grumpy bumblebee. So, and he's going to want to face this way because he's at the bottom here. So he's going to face in. I think that looks better when I'm doing my card here. Let me get this stuff out of the way. So I'm going to take that, what I call the grumpy face. It's probably not even a grumpy face. My Memento ink again, which always hides. Where did here it is. My Memento ink, and that one face that to me just looks a little grumpy. Ink that up. Let me practice one time on practice paper here. Little tiny face, just barely tap the ink here, which is very happy or inked up, and then just stamp his little face right there. There we go. Then a little bit of liquid glue. I'm going to glue on his wings. Like this, and an antenna, and then this bee is ready to go onto our card. Now with the first little bee down here at the bottom, you just have to make sure that his stinger or his wings or nothing hangs. Well, I keep trying to put glue. There we go. I think I got some that time on here. There's the antenna, right? So we just want to make sure that none of his bee parts hang outside. I'll keep getting out of, let's go up here so I have more room up here. There we go. But we want to make sure that none of his bee parts are hanging outside of the card. So I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue right here on the top part of that bottom W, and then take my little bee here and set him right there. Now, since I use that liquid glue, I can shut my card and then kind of push him in there so that he doesn't show out here. I just nudged him in there, and then I'll come in here and make sure he looks good, which I think he does. He's just a little cranky. And then you check it again, and nothing's showing out here, right? So he's good to go. Now it's time for another one. I'm going to have this one facing that way too. One more facing that way. So which face do we want to use this time? I think I want to use just the open eyes. This is my favorite face. I use this face more than anything. Just a cute little bee with just a happy smile little face. A little bit of liquid glue on my wings. The wings on my bee. A little bit of liquid glue on my antennas. And then put that right in here. And then once again, a little bit of liquid glue on the top part of my second W here, right here. And I'm gonna kind of tilt him so he's up a little more. Now he's over enough, we don't have to worry about him hanging off the side of the card, but look how cute he looks now. Let's fold it and make sure everything's good. Nothing's gonna stick where we don't want it. Nope, and looky there, we have 2 bees so far. Let's do one more. This bee here, I'm gonna just use the same eyes because they're my favorite. Make him a nice happy little face. This one is gonna be facing straight up and down, so he'll need double our wings. We're gonna put a wing on one side like this. Whoops, move, there we go. And another little wing on this side over here, and I'm out of camera, so sorry. There we go. Get in the camera, Kathy. Like that. And then a little bit of antennas at the top. Like this, a little bit of liquid glue here on this in the center of our top of our W. And then set our little bee right there, making sure again that his nothing goes below that score line of the W. Oop, like his wing was right there. And then let's fold it and see if everything closes. Yep, everything closes, nothing's hanging out, and he's just fine. Looky there. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and take, I have 1, 2, 3 bees. I would consider this about the center. So this, I'm gonna put a little dollop of glue at the top of the fold up here because of those holes in my greeting, and I'm gonna just set that right there. And now I'm gonna let it hold just a second, let that dry. And then close the card, apply a little pressure, make sure everything's good in there. And then look, now we have our greeting in there too. You think that's cute, right? Okay, let's go ahead and do another bumblebee just like that one. Only this time I'm gonna use the little closed content face, I guess, that you would call it. Put a little happy face right there. I'm gonna put little wings on both sides this time. And I don't know why I decided to jump to the top, but I think because I wanna see, now that my circle's in there, where this top little bumblebee should go. Now that you see how the card is made, it's a really cute, fancy fold card, but it's not too hard to make. You think you would make some of these again? I've made quite a few of these, and they get easier and easier every time. Okay, I'm gonna just take and put a dimensional on the back of this little guy here. In fact, I guess I'm gonna use 4. Make sure I hold him all of his pieces and parts together and onto my card. And there, I'm out of the camera again. I'll fix that for the next one. And then I'm gonna place him up here in the corner. Now, I don't usually use dimensionals on the inside of my card, but I think because it has so much going on in there, those little dimensionals aren't gonna make a difference. And look how cute he is floating up there. Okay, my last 2 bees, I'm going to have facing, nope, because of this circle, I think he needs to be peeking out on this side. So I'm gonna have my bee facing, one more bee facing this way. I'm gonna use that, what I call a winky face. Look how cute this little bee is. Ooh, I smeared him a little bit. I think he's gonna be okay though. So I'm gonna take my wings here, a little bit of glue at the bottom, glue those onto my smeared winky. Oh, look, as he dries, he's gonna be fine. And then put a little bit of glue here. and then tuck him like this. Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue here behind my circle. I'm going to put it over toward the left-hand side because I'm going to have him, wait a little bit more, I'm going to have him peeking out here behind that little happy birthday, like that. And then once again, I'm going to fold my card, make sure that everything folds right properly. Nothing's where it shouldn't be. And then look how cute he is popping out from behind that circle. Okay, one more bee. This one's going to be facing back this way. I think I'm going to use, let's see, we've used a couple of those. We're going to use that content face or whatever this face is called with his eyes closed. Like that. Put some wings on here. And here, and believe it or not, I think finally, we are done with this card. It's certainly a little bit of work, but I think it's well worth it. Here again, we're going to put some glue on that second to the top. This one right down the center, and then set that little bee there right above that score line, and make sure the card folds. Apply a little pressure, let all that glue dry, and now let's look at the finished product. Let me put away my ink, set those faces aside, because we're missing one more bee. Doggone it, I forgot the bee for the front. Okay, here we go. So we're going to do the bee. We need the antenna, and we need the wings here. I'm going to just do my favorite face. Got to bring that black ink back in. It's this one. And ink that up. Stamp that little face right here. There we go. Now we can close this. Put a little bit of glue. Now you could also hold this on with just the dimensionals that we're going to put on the back, but I think it's easier sometimes to hold everything together with a little bit of liquid glue and then add those dimensionals. There he goes. He's got his little antennas. Whoop. And then we'll put some dimensionals on the back of him. And then put him right here, lining up with that flight line. So he looks like that. And there you go. So there is card number 1. Alrighty, let's go on to card number 2. Let me clean up just a little bit. Make sure I find the lid to my glue. Put my punch over here. Got my bone folders put away. All right, and then we're gonna bring in ink pad that looks like, or ink pad, the packet that looks like this. We're gonna take all those pieces and parts out. We're gonna start with our stamping. So I'm gonna set aside my card base here. I'm gonna set aside the 2 red circles. Really, the one is a ring and the other is a circle. And I'm gonna set aside the designer series paper. Oops, except we do need this piece of basic white. This piece of basic white, there's a piece of basic white that's 1 inch that has scoring on each end. We don't need that one right now either. We're gonna stamp on these 3 pieces right here. I'm gonna bring in another piece of scratch paper because when I stamp on these 2, my stamping is gonna go off the side. Now let me show you a couple options that I did. So my card here, I did a lot of stamping. I stamped all the little stems down here. I stamped 3 over here. I stamped the little flowers here. And in the other card that has escaped me, I did more of the little flowers as my, see that? How I took the little punch and I punched out some Flirty Flamingo and some Sweet Sorbet hearts, and I put those on my card instead. So I think this time I'm gonna do the little hearts. I think it might be just a little bit faster, but you can decide how you want yours done. I'm gonna leave this open so you can see another way, but I'm gonna come in with that garden green ink, and I'm gonna start with this big circle, and I'm gonna kind of follow that circle all the way around. So I'm going to just stamp, see how it kind of curves the same way. Whoop, let me see if I can get over that. Excuse my head if it's in the camera, but I'm going to fix that little boo-boo. There we go. And then kind of here, and then one more down here. And then with that stem that goes the other way, I'm going to stamp up here, and then here, and then I think I can fit one more right there. There we go. Look how cute, right? Okay, then while I'm at it, let me tell you one more thing. If you look at my card here, I have my flower over here and my happy it's your day over here. I didn't like that with my bumblebee there. To me, I should have put my bumblebee on this side, but I wanted it to open this way. So I'm going to stamp it more like this with it's your day, only I'm going to move my it's your day closer to the circle. But first I'm going to stamp that flower stem. So bring the flower that goes this way. I'm going to stamp him right there. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to stamp one here on the inside of my card too. Okay, there we go. Now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need 8 little hearts. Let me find my scraps of sweet sorbet. These would be in your kit too. And I'm going to just punch 4 little hearts of red. And right now my is not, oh, there it is in my packet. I think it's in my packet. How come I can't find, oh, here it is, my Flirty Flamingo. Now your scraps of little Flirty Flamingo might look different than mine, but there'll be a little scrap that you can punch out for little hearts too. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the only other thing I need to stamp now are my greetings. So I'm going to bring back in that black memento ink. And again, I'm going to stamp the happy birthday here on the inside. Practice once on my paper. There we go, set that aside, let that dry a little bit. And then that's It's Your Day. This is the same stamp set that I used last time, that Days to Remember. Oop, and I almost stamped that upside down. And this time, remember, I want to stamp closer to the center, so I'm going to stamp up here. There we go. And we're going to set that aside and let that dry. While I glue all those little hearts, I'm going to just take my roll of glue dots here and just put a little heart on each glue dot. And there we go. Now I have all my little hearts ready to attach to my card here. Let's start with this one. See if I can get that off. No, I'm going to have to use my Take-A-Pick tool. I'm not going to be able to get that off of there. Pluck that off and put that right there. I don't know why, but I think that little heart as the flower at the end of the stem is so cute. There we go. That looks good. And then I'm going to just alter these little flowers down here. 1. No. Well, I might not alter them all. I might have to not stagger, I think is the word. Oh, can't get those off of there. There we go. Boy, my Take-A-Pick tool can get those off of there. This one. Here. And there you go. Look how cute that is. Okay, let's go ahead and layer our circles onto our red circles. I'm going to use liquid glue. I'm going to take this one. Now you can notice that I cheated and I cut this center out of this circle, or this circle out of the center of this circle, just to save a little bit of cardstock. So I'm going to take my glue and just put it around the ring here like this, and then layer that circle on there, and that way I have the glue exactly where I want it. There we go. And then this one we're going to go ahead and set on here. And now we need 2 bumblebees. So I'm going to bring in 1, 2. I need 2 sets of wings, 1, 2, and I need 2 antennas. And they have, well, they're right in front of me. If they'd be a snake, they would have bit me. That's what my mother used to say. 2 of those. Oops, I think I got 3. Okay. So the bees are both, if you look at the cards, they're both floating the same way. So I'm going to just take my favorite set of eyes and stamp those on my little bee here. There we go. I'm going to set that aside. Those look really inky, and I'm going to let them dry. I should have let the other ones dry too. Maybe I wouldn't have smeared my other one. But let's go ahead and bring in our card base. We'll come back to all those pieces. Let's bring in our card base. This piece of paper here, and the designer series paper. So on our card base, it has 3 score lines. This is 8 inches by 5.5. I've cut 1/2 inch off here, and I've scored it at 2, 4, and 6. And I'm going to take those 2 outside score lines and just fold inside. I'm not going to fold along that center one. So fold like that and fold like that. There we go. Now this is the front of our card. This designer series paper has been cut so you can put it so it goes back together like that. We're going to layer these on the front. So I'm going to take a little bit of tape runner and adhesive here. And I'm going to layer this one on this side. Now, did I mention that I saw this card design from Karen Titus? I believe she's the one, the stamper on the porch with her husband, Tim. But like I said, I cased, copied, and shared this design from Karen Titus. So if you want to go see a bunch more samples of this card, hang on, I got glue on my mat. I'm going to just take it off. There we go. You can go to Karen Titus and check out her page. Okay, so on this is the white piece that has the 2 score lines. I'm going to score back on those 2 score lines. I'm going to use liquid glue. This is going to go on the inside. So we have the 3 score lines, the one in the center. I want to center this with just a itty bitty border between those 2 outside score lines. So I'm going to put a bit of liquid glue here on a tab here, and a little bit of liquid glue on the tab here, and then set that down. And since, again, like I used that liquid glue, I have a little bit of time to move it around, get it centered between those score lines, and probably centered top and bottom. There we go, and hold that down. Now, this designer series paper has been cut the same way that the other designer series paper was cut, so you could put it back together. Maybe. Let me see. There he goes like that. And then this piece must go on this side. There we go. And we're going to line these up on these 3 panels right here. So same thing. Take a little bit of adhesive and layer this one right here. And when we go to layer this one, we're going to tuck it underneath and kind of hide that flap that's back there. So we're going to take this one and put it underneath there and slide it over so it's in the next panel. There we go. And then let's do this one again. Now we have our designer series paper all lined up again. And it slides in there nice and cute, just like that. And then this piece that we stamped on is gonna be where you would write your greeting. Now, when Karen did her card, she put designer series paper on the two outside and then a different pattern on the inside. But I wanted a place where you could write on your card, and I thought this was the perfect place right here. So that's why I did my card like that. Looks like that, right? Now, when you open your card, we're gonna kind of just barely bend that score line. We don't want a full fold, but we just want a little bit of bend, so it looks like that. Because in your card, we're gonna put, see how it folds like that? We're gonna put a little bit of glue here in the center, so it still holds onto your card, but yet when your person or your recipient gets it, they can set it up on their desk. So I'm gonna take about a dime size of liquid glue, a ball or a circle right here in the center. Like I said, it's probably about the size of a dime. And then I'm gonna take my circle here and I'm gonna layer, centered it right here where I want it, and then hold that down. Now your card pops out. It doesn't really have that fold, but yet it shuts up nice, just like that. Okay, let's go ahead and put that bee on there now. I'm gonna just take a little bit of liquid glue, put the little wings on him and his antenna like we've been doing. Same old thing, different card. Little antennas here. And then I'm gonna put him on there with a dimensional. Not my norm, but we got a lot going on the inside of this card too, so I think it'd be okay to have just a little bit of dimension. And then normally with a card like this, that's a fancy fold or what they call a gatefold. Boy, where do I want him? I want him kind of above my flowers. Yeah, I think he looks good just like that. Okay, but normally you would do a belly band or something to keep your card closed. What I decided to do is do what I call like a latch. And so I'm gonna put something like this. I'm gonna have this little bee hold my card shut. So I only want adhesive on this side of my circle like this. So what I like to do is I like to hold it. He's gonna look that good there. I like to hold and I put my fingers about where it is, so I know I only want glue over here. So I'm gonna put my glue here, and now I know where my glue is, and then maybe a little bit of glue here so I know I got it really next to the edge. And then when I lay it down again, I know that my glue isn't where I don't want it. It's only on this side. That's just a little helpful tip there. And let's see if it truly worked. It truly did work. And now he's stuck on there really well because of that adhesive, and you can pull on him, he won't come off again. Now let's add our little last bee. So let's put some liquid glue here on his wings. And a little bit of liquid glue on his antennas. And now this might be just the trickiest part of the whole card, because we want the bee to be here. We only want to stick him here so we can tuck our card. We only want to stick him here so we can tuck this circle underneath him. So I'm going to take, first of all, and put a dimensional right here next to my card. That's where I know I'm going to start with my bumblebee stuck down to my card, so I can kind of get that paper underneath him. Does that make sense? And then I want him to be stuck down as best I can. So then I'm going to bring in some mini dimensionals and put it up here to the top of his wings, so we just get that little bit more adhesive so he doesn't pop off when you go to open your card. Or tuck it in there again, I guess. But let's put him, figure out where we want him, about right there. Let's see now. Yep. And then we can tuck him back under there, and he'll hold our card closed. So there is card number 2. Now, give me just a few more minutes. It might take me a few. I'm going to do the video of the other 2 cards. I will link them here, so if you watch to the end of the video, you can just click on that next picture and it will take you to the next 2 cards. Alrighty, thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of my class. I really appreciate you. Hang out for the next card. Bye-bye.